In the 1986 novella, The Hellbound Heart, Clive Barker created some of the most memorable and original monsters ever to grace page or screen alike. These otherworldly beings have become iconic figures in the landscape of modern horror. Blending elements of pleasure and pain, the sacred and the profane, Cenobites challenge all morality and reason. The concept of the Cenobite arose from Barker's fascination with extreme experiences and the thin line between ecstasy and agony. In The Hellbound Heart, these entities are portrayed as extradimensional beings who can be summoned by solving a mystical puzzle box. They appear as grotesquely modified humanoids, their bodies altered in ways that blur the distinction between flesh and fabric. The impact of the Cenobites on popular culture was significantly amplified by the 1987 film adaptation of Barker's novella, titled Hellraiser. This movie, and its numerous sequels, brought the visceral imagery of the Cenobites to life, cementing their place in the pantheon of great horror monsters. Join us for an exploration of their nature, origins, and the complex mythology that surrounds them. From the enigmatic puzzle boxes that serve as gateways to their realm, to the diverse and disturbing forms they take. Cenobites are extradimensional entities that exist in a realm most perceive as hell, though this description is an oversimplification. They are usually former humans who have been transformed through extreme sensory experiences that transcend the boundaries of pleasure and pain. In appearance, Cenobites are characterized by their heavily modified bodies. Their flesh is often mutilated, pierced, or surgically altered in grotesque ways. These modifications are not merely cosmetic but are integral to their existence, serving as conduits for the extreme sensations they constantly experience. The name Cenobite itself is significant. In religious contexts, a Cenobite is a member of a monastic community. This allusion hints at the quasi-religious nature of these beings. Cenobites are not malevolent in the traditional sense. They don't seek to cause harm for selfish or vengeful ends. Instead, they operate on a different moral plane, one where the concepts of pleasure and pain are intertwined and elevated to a spiritual level. They view themselves as explorers of sensation and consider their extreme modifications as a form of transcendence. Central to the mythology of the Cenobites is Leviathan, referred to as the god of flesh, hunger, and desire. Leviathan rules over the realm of the Cenobites, which is depicted in the films as a massive complex structure known as the Labyrinth. Leviathan manifests as a colossal geometric shape, like a lozenge or octahedron, that floats in the sky above the labyrinth, emanating beams of black light. This entity is the source of the Cenobites' power and the driving force behind their actions. The realm of the Cenobites is not the hell of Judeo-Christian tradition. It's a dimension of pure sensation, where the conventions of human morality do not apply. This realm is a place of eternal torment, but to the Cenobites, this torment is ecstasy. A crucial element in Cenobite lore is the Lemarchand Boxes, the first of which to appear in the novella and films is the Lament configuration, or simply just the box. These intricate puzzle boxes serve as gateways between the physical world and the realm of the Cenobites, and solving one of these boxes is typically what summons the Cenobites. The Lament configuration is a complex metallic puzzle box covered in occult symbols. When solved, it opens a gateway to the Cenobites' dimension. However, it's important to note that there are multiple such devices, each with its own unique design and specific function within the mythology. The creation of the boxes is attributed to Philippe Lemarchand, a fictional 18th-century French toymaker. In the expanded lore, Lemarchand is portrayed as an unwitting pawn of the Cenobites, creating these gateways without fully understanding their true purpose. The act of solving a Lemarchand box is seen as consent to experience what the Cenobites offer. This concept of consent is crucial to understanding the Cenobites' ethos. They do not typically force themselves upon the unwilling but come to those who seek them out, whether knowingly or unknowingly. In the broader mythology, the Cenobites are tasked with harvesting souls for Leviathan, expanding their ranks by transforming humans who have exhausted earthly sensations and seek more extreme experiences. This lore creates a rich, dark mythology that blends elements of body horror, religious imagery, and S&M fetish style. It's a mythology that explores the extremes of human desire and the potentially terrifying consequences of pursuing sensation beyond mortal limits. The original Hellraiser film introduced 4 Cenobites who have since become iconic figures in horror cinema. Each of these characters represents a unique aspect of the Cenobite ethos, with a distinct appearance and implied background. The first, and most iconic of all, is Pinhead. Although not named Pinhead in the original film, this character quickly became the face of the franchise. Originally referred to as lead Cenobite or the Hell Priest, Pinhead is characterized by his pale, grid-scarred face and scalp, with pins inserted at each intersection. Pinhead was once Captain Elliot Spencer, a British Army officer who survived the horrors of World War I. Disillusioned and seeking extreme experiences, Spencer solved the lament configuration and was transformed. He embodies the eloquence and philosophical nature of the Cenobites, often speaking in poetic riddles, blurring the lines between pain and pleasure. His calm, neutral demeanor belies the extreme torment he can inflict. The female Cenobite, sometimes referred to as Deep Throat by fans due to her neck wound, represents a twisted vision of femininity, with her shaved head, pale skin, and gaping wound in her throat held open with wires. Later works suggest she was once a nun named Sister Nicoletta. Her transformation into a Cenobite came from a fascination with sin, and a desire to experience sensations beyond the confines of her religious vows. She often acts as Pinhead's second-in-command, embodying the seductive aspect of the Cenobite's promise of extreme sensation. Chatterer is perhaps the most visually disturbing of the original Cenobites. His most distinctive feature is his flayed face, pulled back to expose his teeth, which constantly chatter, hence his name. Later works in the franchise suggest that Chatterer was once a young boy named Jim, who solved the puzzle box out of curiosity. His youthful origin adds an extra layer of horror to his grotesque appearance. Butterball is characterized by his obese appearance, sunglasses which hide sewn-shut eyes, and his perpetually grinning mouth. His body is marked with cuts and surgical scars. While not extensively explored in the films, some expanded materials suggest Butterball was once a man whose desire for sensory excess led him to the Cenobites. He embodies the concept of gluttony, his appearance suggesting a life of excess taken to supernatural extremes. These 4 Cenobites form an infamous quartet that effectively represents different aspects of the Cenobite philosophy. Their appearances and backstories hint at the diverse ways one might come to seek out the extreme experiences offered by Leviathan. It's worth noting that these characters were not extensively developed in Barker's original work. Much of their backstory and individual characteristics were expanded in subsequent films, comics, and novels, growing the mythology beyond its initial conception. As the Hellraiser franchise expanded, numerous other Cenobites were introduced, each with their own unique designs. Here are some notable examples. In Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, Dr. Chanad is a former psychiatrist transformed into a Cenobite. He is notable as an antagonist to the original 4 Cenobites in this film. In Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, CD is a DJ turned Cenobite who launches compact discs as weapons. Angelique from Hellraiser Bloodline is a demon princess turned Cenobite, which in itself is notable as most Cenobites were once human. Hellraiser Inferno gives us the Wire Twins, 2 female Cenobites with wires threading their bodies together. And to round off this list, there is Stitch from Hellraiser Deader and Hellraiser Hellseeker, a Cenobite with the skin on her head removed and stapled back in place, and her eyes and mouth sewn shut. These and a veritable army of other Cenobites have expanded the lore, showcasing diverse forms and the various ways human desires and fears can be twisted to create these otherworldly beings. Since their inception in Barker's novella, Cenobites have appeared in a wide range of media, with the Hellraiser film franchise being the most well-known. As of 2024, there are 11 films in the series, starting in 1987 with the original Hellraiser, through a slew of sequels, with varying levels of quality, including Hellbound, Hell on Earth, Bloodline, Hellseeker, Revelations and more, culminating in 2022's reboot, which was also named Hellraiser. The first 4 films were theatrical releases, while subsequent entries went direct to video. The 2022 reboot marked a return to larger-scale production and a reimagining of Cenobites for a new generation. While earlier entries stayed relatively close to Barker's original vision, later films often took more liberal interpretations, sometimes to the chagrin of hardcore fans. Beyond the original novella, Cenobites have appeared in a sequel by Barker called The Scarlet Gospels, and Hellraiser the Toll, a novella by Mark Allen Miller bridging the Hellbound Heart and the Scarlet Gospels. Additionally, several of the films were adapted into novelizations. Cenobites have also had a significant presence in comic books, featuring visual storytelling to rival the films in terms of grotesque imagery. Epic Comics had a 20-issue run from 1989 to 1992 and also a number of short runs and one-offs including crossovers, such as Hellraiser vs. Nightbreed and Pinhead vs. Martial Law, Law in Hell. Boom Studios also ran a 20-issue series from 2011 to 2012, simply called Hellraiser, continuing the storyline from the films, and followed this up with Hellraiser, The Dark Watch, a 12-issue series following the previous run. There have also been various limited series, anthologies and one-shots from different publishers that examine different aspects of the Hellraiser universe. The comics have been particularly notable for introducing new Cenobites and expanding the backstories of existing ones, often in ways that couldn't be realized in the films due to budget constraints or rating concerns. Over the decades, Cenobites have evolved from niche horror monsters to recognized icons of the genre. Their unique blend of body horror, supernatural elements, and twisted philosophy has allowed them to maintain relevance even as horror trends have shifted. The character of Pinhead, in particular, has transcended the Hellraiser franchise to become a recognizable figure even among those unfamiliar with the source material. This legendary status has led to both reverence for the original concept and numerous reinterpretations and parodies across various media, like the Rick and Morty episode, Amortike Graffiti. This enduring fascination with Cenobites speaks to the power of Clive Barker's original creation. By tapping into primal fears and desires, and presenting a unique vision of horror that blends the visceral with the cerebral, Cenobites have surely secured their place in the Horror Hall of Infamy.